Released in 2004, GT Racers was developed and published both on the PlayStation 2, and it also got subsequent releases on Windows PC and later on the Game Boy Advance in 2006. And it is an arcade focused racer that has you racing around circuits and city streets from different environments around the world, from cities mainly the likes of London, New York, Rome, Tokyo and Paris, in various different game modes. So you can race in a single player championship where you can compete to win based off a point system so that you can further progress and win the overall championship, or you can go into multiplayer and play head to head with other players that you can also compete with to find out who the best racer will be. Now this game is more of a budget style racing game. Even though the graphics in it are quite good for the most part, the mechanics themselves, the handling, can be a little bit on the twitchy side. It's not to say that it's a bad game in general, it's actually quite a good game when you give it time, when you get to master the controls, but the cars can slide around an awful lot, so it does take a bit of getting used to get familiar with the control system in place. The tracks are very open-ended, so usually you'll be driving around mainly on city streets, but the tracks themselves, the roads are quite wide, which you will need to use to your advantage because you will be doing a lot of drifting and sliding around the place, so you do need to have wide tracks to really get a feel for the handling. And as you're racing through the city streets, you get to pass by loads of various types of buildings and environmental areas, like with big monasteries and city skylines, and there are a lot of different obstacles that can hamper your progress throughout each of the races. So you have to deal with not crashing into gates or tunnel entrances and so forth, so that you can gain advantage over the competition, as they will be hot on your heels basically to try and defeat you. You do have quite a selection of cars. You have anything from muscle cars to Japanese tuner cars, with examples the likes of the Ford GT. You've got even the Jaguar XJ220, the Honda NSX, even all the way to a Nissan Skyline GTR. And there's other cars that are available throughout the course of play. You have anything from the likes of a Dodge Viper and other types of well-known sports cars. They all have their own unique handling characteristics, and they do vary in terms of their overall speed and how they feel. Some are better to use than others, I will admit that, but it just really depends on what it is that you're looking for. Now I will be honest, from having played this myself, it's not the best racer on the system by any means, but it is quite fun to just for a quick playthrough. It is fast paced and the pacing of the game is quite frantic, so you definitely will have your work cut out for you when you're going through each of the races, as there are a lot of elements that can hamper your progress and also get in your way to stop you from really taking advantage of each of the races. But depending on skill, once you acquire the skills and get used to each of the cars and the tracks, you shouldn't really have too much of a problem winning races, depending on the difficulty. Graphically, for a budget game, it's not too bad compared to other games that are out there, and it does hold up quite well, even for with it being a budget game. And I remember going back to even likes of being in game stores, and you would usually see this in the likes of bargain bins. You could pretty much get this game for as little as even as low as €2 or €3 or pounds, if you will, depending on where you were. So if you did have access and you were looking for a couple of games just to build up your collection, or even if you were looking for a couple of racing games, you would definitely get access to this one fairly handy. But it just boils down to what it is that you want to play, if you're into racing games or not, and do you even like these type of games. All in all, like I mentioned, it's not the best racer on the system, but the more you play it, it does get enjoyable the more you get into it. You just have to get a feel for the control system and get used to the tracks, but overall it's not really a bad game. It really all depends on what you think about it when you're playing it. And I'd love to know your thoughts on GT Racers if you have played it yourself. Do you like playing these budget style of racing games that were released on the system? And if so, what are your thoughts on it? I'd love to hear them, so be sure to share it down in the comments below. And if you'd like to see more of these type of videos where I do other reviews and gameplay videos of other budget style racers that were also released on the PS2, then make sure to leave a like on the video. Again, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be updated when future videos are released. And be sure to check out the videos on the screen where I do provide other gameplay review videos of other similar style budget games that were also released on the system. So be sure to check those videos out, and I will see you all over in the next one.